Alright, GMP, read me a story.
Right away, Johnny shall ride, and he shall have a pussycat tied to one side,
Boring.
and he shall have a little dog.
Hey guys, what is going on? McMull2 here, welcome back. So I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 lately, and recently I got the Wardcliff Coil from an exotic engram. Been playing about this thing for a week, and let me tell you, this thing is an absolute blast. It reminds me a little bit of the Galahorn from the first Destiny game, but it's a bit different. There's a different few mechanics on it, but we'll go into all of that. We'll talk about the perks on it, we'll talk about where it's useful, and then we'll talk about just what makes this gun so much fun to use. So taking a look at the weapon overall, you can see it's got a honeycomb design on the front end. It's sort of a really oddball design, almost looks like a bit of a salvage from a crashed satellite. You can see it's got a bunch of interesting perks. The first perk is Mad Scientist. It fires a volley of rockets. That's the unique perk for the exotic weapon. It has volatile launch, which increases the blast radius, decreases the handling speed, and decreases the projectile speed, so slower moving but bigger explosions. Extended mag increases the magazine size but also decreases the reload speed, so it's going to take longer to reload, but you can see the magazine is only one round, so there's really no need for this perk. It kind of makes it hurt overall to use this weapon. There's really no benefit to this perk because you're not going to get a second round. You have the mechanized autoloader, which automatically reloads on ammo pickup. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then the composite stock, which increases the stability on this weapon, also increases the handling speed, so it's gonna have a little bit less recoil, but again, we'll talk about that here in a minute. So that's the overall perks on the weapon, and then it also has an ornament on it called Tesla's Revenge, and this perk can be unlocked through bright engrams from the Eververse company, so you're gonna have to either buy silver or really level up your characters. Tesla's Revenge, it gives it a sort of electrical look to the entire thing. There's a bit of a theme with this weapon and Tesla overall. We'll talk about that a little bit more with the history, but it makes it have like a nice shiny polish, and that electrical current running underneath the weapon makes it look really cool. So a little bit of backstory on this weapon overall. It's named after Nikolai Tesla. Between the ornament name Tesla's Revenge and even the name of the weapon itself, Wardcliff Coil, it's after the Wardcliff Tower built in the early 1900s by Nikolai Tesla. It was an early wireless transmission station designed to transmit messages, telephone, and even faxes across the Atlantic to England and to ships out at sea. Eventually, he tried to step it up to compete with telegraph systems, but that caused his main financial backer to step out, and along with some other unfortunate incidents, eventually this tower was deemed a failure and was later demolished, and it was never completed. So earlier on I mentioned that there are differences and similarities with the Galahorn and the Wardcliff Coil. The big thing that both have in common is that they can shoot out multiple projectiles with one shot. The Galahorn would shoot out homing rockets once the big rocket exploded, and then the Wardcliff Coil can shoot out a good 10 sort of homing rockets with one salvo. Both of them cost 1 ammo each to use, and they both can shoot out multiple projectiles that can cause a lot of damage, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. You have the Galahorn that does multiple homing rockets after the first explosion, and the Wardcliff Coil shoots out multiple projectiles with one salvo. Now we've gone through all that, let's talk about some of the great stuff with this weapon. And the first really big thing is that it has some really good AoE damage on it. The multiple rockets cause for a lot of blast damage. You can see on the first perk that he has the increased blast radius anyways, so you're going to have a lot of explosions going on. It's going to be pretty much something that even Michael Bay would be proud of. So with all of that, it does really good for handling a lot of adds, and if you can get really close in on a boss, you can use all the rocket shots at once to really knock down the boss pretty quickly and do a huge chunk of health off right away. But that can also come with some drawbacks. The main thing is the recoil on this thing. It's pretty bad. It kicks like a horse, and if you're a good distance away from your target, you're just not going to have the range to really do some reliable damage, so you're going to have to get in close with this weapon. You're going to have to get danger close, and that's just going to have to be something that you'll have to deal with. You have to make sure that you're going to be able to survive, have something ready to go to increase your survivability, or to make sure that you're at least at full shields and health. That way you can survive getting close with this weapon to do massive amounts of damage. One other weird thing I've noticed is that there seems to be some kind of glitch going on with Wardcliff Coil. Maybe it's just overall in the game with the physics, is that when the blast from the rocket hits, sometimes it will launch the character up into the air, and then they will dodge the overall damage from your rocket blast. You can see here that he just jumps up really high, and that pretty much all the salvo from the Wardcliff Coil is wasted on the fallen captain, and you don't really get a lot of damage in on him. So I'm not sure if this is a glitch or if this is just some kind of funny feature that's added in, but it's something that is quite funny and annoying at the same time. Looking at the autoloader perk, it says that the weapon will refill automatically whenever it picks up any power ammo. Don't call it heavy ammo, that is Destiny 1, is now power ammo, by the way. So what happens here is that when the weapon is out in your hands and you run over power ammo, it will automatically refill your weapon if it has 0 shots in it. However, something else to note here is if your weapon is holstered, it will not reload your weapon. So don't have your weapon holstered when you go to run over that power ammo. So this is kind of an odd mechanic in my opinion, because it feels like the player is being punished for having it holstered because they don't have any ammo. So if they have it holstered before they run over the power ammo, then when they run over the ammo, it's now not reloaded, so now they have to reload the weapon once the ammo's back out. I want this perk to have it where that no matter if it's holstered or not, anytime you run over power ammo, if the weapon does not have any ammo in it currently, it automatically reloads the weapon for you. But I can see that there are probably some balance changes here, especially in PvP, because you can just have the Wardcliff Coil holstered, you run over the power ammo, and then it's automatically reloaded. You don't have to do the 2-second animation for reloading. You can just whip it out and just automatically murder whoever's around you. So I can get the balance changes there and why you need to have it like that. I just don't like it, but I do understand why they have it like that. So not only does the Wardcliff Coil do a lot of splash damage, so it really knocks out a large group of enemies in a short amount of time, you can really focus down one boss with it really quickly, just like we could with the Gallahorn in Destiny 1. And personally, what I like to do is I like to jump up in the air, as you guys have seen. I like to jump up in the air and then shoot down the targets. That way I can get a lot of splash damage and really do a lot of damage to the target. And one thing I really like to envision myself as is an A10 Warthog, aka a tank buster. And when I'm jumping up in the air and I'm diving down these targets and just unloading, it's like I'm unloading a Gatling gun on them. So really, at the end of the day, the Wardcliff Coil is still going to be a very good weapon. It's not going to be a Gallahorn per se. The Gallahorn is more of like a missile strike. Think of the Wardcliff Coil more of like a carpet bomb. It does a lot of damage in a large radius. It's really going to help take out a large group of enemies in a very short amount of time. Think of it as a weapon you can use during the ad phases, during a boss fight. It can really knock out those large groups of enemies. That's really going to help your fire team overall. It's not going to do a lot of single target damage like the Gallahorn could. It does some single target damage. It's really nice, but the problem with the recoil and the fact that the homing rockets on the Wardcliff Coil aren't the best at tracking targets, as you may have seen already, it's not something that you can really rely on for tracking. So don't worry about the Wardcliff Coil for single target damage. Use it more of a way to manage large groups of ads and allow that to be its main strength. So that is pretty much it for this video reviewing the Wardcliff Coil. I know it's my first Destiny 2 video, it's probably not my best one. I am going to be playing more of this game, I'm going to try to do some more videos. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask down below. Feel free to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel for more content in the future, and I will talk to you guys later.